Hi scholars, today we're reading an article from Newsela called Social Distancing Advice from Astronauts, Experts on Isolation During Coronavirus. As I read the article, I want you to follow along. When we're done reading the article, please click the link for Padlet below in the description box and answer the question. Social Distancing Advice from Astronauts, Experts on Isolation During Coronavirus. Written by the Washington Post, adapted by the Newsela staff on April 8, 2020. Astronauts don't get out much, or can't. Before living for months in space, Christina Koch lived at the South Pole. Chris Hadfield lived below the ocean in a laboratory off the coast of Florida. Koch was surrounded by frozen land. Hadfield was 62 feet underwater. The experience proved useful. When they rocketed out to the International Space Station, ISS, on separate months-long missions in different years, their brains were well acquainted with being isolated. Koch returned to Earth from her 328-day mission on the space station in February. She broke the record for the longest space flight by a woman. Hadfield spent more than 5 months on the ISS from 2012 to 2013. It feels like living in the basement of a large building for a long time, Hadfield said. They work each day with the same small group of people with no way to leave. Their workspace is their living space. They see the people they love only through video chats. Now, the spread of the coronavirus has sent millions of people into a similar situation. The coronavirus is a flu-like illness. It has been spreading around the world since December 2019. Health officials have been encouraging social distancing. This means staying home and staying away from other people to help slow the spread of the virus. Astronauts might be some of the most qualified people to offer advice about how to live in a limited world. Pretend you live on a new planet. The situations are similar because there is a big danger out there that is clearly not defined, said Hadfield, age 60. He is a retired Canadian astronaut who was the commander of the space station in 2013. He said it's unclear and frightening, and operating a rocket ship is very much like that. There's a constant elevated level of danger, and it's sort of nameless and quiet. Hadfield and Koch are among several astronauts offering self-quarantine tips. At least 175 million people across the United States have been urged to stay home. The key is to leave behind a life ruled by outside demands, Hadfield said. It is important to trade a daily schedule built around going places for a life of going almost nowhere except for a walk. Koch suggested looking at it as if we were a new planet to explore. There will be things that you can do that you've never done before. There will be things you can't do, said Koch, 41 years old. But we're almost like a new group of people now, operating within a completely different set of rules and under a completely different normal. What are the new things people can do on this new planet? Make sure you have missions every day. Hadfield said, rule number 1 is that people should study the risks of the coronavirus in their area. Then they should understand how it affects and limits them. Next is to be your own taskmaster. Develop mini missions for every day. On the space station, to-do lists were made for every day. Missions ranged from fixing a toilet to studying the particles of the universe. However, at home on Earth, missions can be as simple as brushing your teeth or calling a grandparent. You should always have objectives every single day, Hadfield said. What do I want to get done in the next 10 minutes, and what do I want to do in the next hour? Find creative ways to interact. Then there's the loneliness, the separation from friends and family. On the space station, Koch said she was able to video chat with family about once a week. Feeling connected also meant doing fun things together. When her friends ran a 10-kilometer race one Saturday, she raced with them on her treadmill in space. She and her crew sent Battle of the Bands challenges to friends. They took turns playing songs with the few instruments they had. Hadfield recorded music from space, playing his guitar. Koch said she sang and played the maracas. We had to come up with creative ways to interact, Koch said. Anything that allows you to bridge that physical gap and makes you feel like you still have shared experiences is important, she said. Koch and Hadfield aren't alone in offering advice. Retired astronaut Scott Kelly has encouraged journaling, going outside when possible, and finding hobbies like reading.